Hey, deserving listeners, the Ultimatum. Let's watch.
I've been jealous too about you and Shanique connecting and stuff. And I mean, like at girls' night, she like brought up that you had a boner.
Wow.
It's more boner talk, and they seem to be making light of it, which is good. And let's see how this conversation goes.
But I mean, I was jealous. I was sad about it.
I mean, I'm a man.
This is a different way of communicating it than we saw Shanique, at least on camera, communicating it to Randall. With Ray to Zay, we're seeing her, she's smiling, she's being light about it, and very upfront. She's like, when I heard that you were aroused, I was jealous and hurt. And she just comes out and says, Shanique, I don't believe we ever heard her say that direct feeling. And now we'll see, and Zay has proven himself to be able to, he's capable of communicating very well, especially when he returned back to Shanique that one time and apologized. So let's see how this conversation goes.
I'm aware.
Lucky that you know that I'm attracted to women.
So my takeaway from this is supposed to be that I'm glad that you're attracted to women.
So he says, well, I'm attracted to, I think he's grasping at straws. I don't think he knows what to say. I don't think he even knew that they were having those kind of conversations. And so he's saying, well, I don't know. I'm a man and I'm attracted to women. And I think that bothers her because I think what he is exhibiting seemingly to her is that he's insensitive to her jealousy. And perhaps what she was looking for was, oh, I'm sorry that you had to hear that. And I want to be with you. And yes, that did happen. But, you know, to be honest, the whole time I was thinking I wanted to be with you. Or, you know, I was going through the show and we were supposed to, I don't know, try things on. And we did. And is that okay with, you know, there's other ways of, I think what she's looking for instead, he just is like, well, anyway, now you know I'm attracted to women, as if he doesn't really care about her reaction and doesn't notice the subtle hint that she is looking for some reassurance that he actually is into her. I think that's what's happening, but let's watch.
I mean, no, like, I mean, we're human.
So what was y'all's experience like physically? Taking a big chug, I was saying.
To contrast Ray with Shanique, Ray is seemingly much more regulated. I'm guessing that Ray has been through less relational traumas, fewer relational traumas, so that she can be differentiated for the most part, I think, compared to Shanique. And she's asking, okay, well, I guess the conversation that I'm opening up when I talk about you being aroused is, I guess I'm curious as to what happened between you and Shanique. And this is none of us are going to be in this situation in all likelihood, but we are potentially going to be in a situation. There's two situations where this commonly comes up in couples, where one, you might be curious about your partner's previous relationships. You might be curious about the details of what happened. How in love were you with that person? What was sex like with that person? So that's one curiosity we might have. The other curiosity we might have is if there's infidelity, we're trying to recover. There's often a compulsive curiosity of wanting to know the gory details that your partner went through when they were cheating on you. And there are considerations to the person asking the question, which are, how are you going to feel when you find out the information? Do you really want to know those details? And how many details do you want? Because once you hear something, once you learn something, once someone, you know, if you ask, you know, for example, if Ray asks Zay, okay, what was it like? And he gives some general answer, which I'm guessing he's going to give. And she probes for more information. Well, were you turned on a lot? Did you get, how involved did you get together? Okay, and then he's like, well, you know, we kind of fooled around. Did you have sex? He might say, I don't know what he's going to say. He might say, no, we didn't. Well, what else did you do? And he'd be like, well, you know, other stuff. Describe to me in detail what you did. Okay, so if you provoke those kinds of responses, and Zay might feel compelled to be honest, then do you want those images in your head? Do you want that? Do you want the gory details to reside in your brain? Because it could really plague you. It's much easier to cope with a general knowledge that, okay, well, they got together, they didn't have sex. I don't want to think about exactly what they did, but I'm guessing second base stuff, who knows? And so you have to be careful about what you're asking for, because you could be actually mildly traumatized by the visualization of what you're asking for. From Zay's perspective, there's a lot of nuances here, and you should talk explicitly about this if you're in Zay's position. You might want to say, so Ray, do you want me to tell you the truth? Because I'm not going to ask you questions about what happened between you and your person, because I just don't want to know, because I don't want to dwell on that. I don't want it to plague me. So I'll answer your questions because I don't want to lie to you, but I don't feel comfortable telling you. And if you're looking for reassurance, let me just say, I'm not in love with her. I'm in love with you. I want to be with you. And when I was together with her, I was just kind of trying something out because I thought that's what we were supposed to do. Like, you would want to be honest because you don't want to lie and you don't want to withhold information, but at the same time, you want to ask are they sure they want to hear the information, and why are they wanting to know? That'd be another thing you would want to ask if you're Zay. It's like, so before I answer that question, which I'll do, Ray, can you tell me why you're asking me that question? Because if Ray says, well, I guess I'm asking because I guess I want to know if you liked her better, then Zay could say something like, no, I did not. So regardless of what I did with her, know that I really love you and I want to be with you. Because that's probably where Ray is coming from. Let's see how they manage it.
What did you guys do physically?
We did cuddle. Yeah.
Okay, so he says that they cuddled. I think that's a broad definition of cuddling, because I think we even saw, maybe that's even why the show showed us, that footage of the camera in the corner of their bedroom at night, a night vision camera filming them while they are getting together physically. So so maybe, like with the Bill Clinton sexual relations, what does that mean? And with Zay, what does cuddling mean? It could mean a lot of different things. So I hope that they can actually talk meta about why they're even having this conversation, because I think that would help. Let's see if they do that.
I feel like I was listening to what you were saying. You want like more communication from me, more words of affirmation. You want me to be more open.
More feelings. I want to know everything that you're thinking, because
I don't think you do.
Okay, this is a really good conversation from the beginning, and I haven't really been talking about this, but Zay has said, and other people have said about him, and he has exhibited that he is very in touch with his emotions and will emote pretty easily and wants intimacy in that way. And now he's asking very explicitly that he wants that dimension with Ray to be more robust. He wants to hear more about how she's feeling. And so, who knows, but often in relationships there are these differences where one person is much more emotive, much more emotional. Everyone is very emotional. If Zay looks at Ray and says, you're not emotional, it's probably not true, and Zay didn't say that. It's more likely that there are emotions that are happening, but they're not expressive about it. And there's different styles. There's extroversion, introversion, but there's also traumas that we've been through that have taught us that we can't be vulnerable with people because it's not safe. Even if someone exhibits safety, we've learned from the past that we can't do that. So I'm going to take a guess and say that Ray is more avoidant attachment style and that Zay is either more preoccupied or secure, and we're seeing at least little yellow flags of that. Let's see. Now, she said something interesting. She's like, you don't want to know what's going on in my mind. And I think what she's saying is, I have a lot of anger at you. And hopefully Zay can say, no, Ray, even if what you tell me is criticism or anger or something, I want to know all of it, and you're safe to tell me that. I'm guessing, based on what she said, this is just a road to go down hypothesis-wise, that her anger was punished or rejected in some way, because I think she's exhibiting that assumption that people don't want to hear my anger. Let's see. And of course, sexism also oppresses women regarding anger.
I'm dead ass.
I always sleep on this side.
Well, I'm sorry. Just compromise with me. Just compromise.
Oh, we're cuddling. Watch out. You might get a boner like you did with Shanique.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
With Ray, I think she has a little bit of jealousy, a little bit of hurt, a little bit of worry associated with the jealousy, the information that she heard that he was aroused with Shanique, and she makes a joke about it. And then he's like, oh, okay. And he's not super hurt, but he kind of, oh, what's happening right now? And he kind of makes a little bit of a joke. And then she quickly says, I'm just joking. And she really was joking. She is communicating, I think she's communicating a little bit of that jealousy, but in a way that isn't accusatory. She's doing it in a playful way. She is allowing for them to have an intimate moment. She is turning to him. It's interesting to see the contrast between Shanique's way of talking to Randall about the exact same issue and Ray's way of talking to Zay about it. That I think exhibits that for Shanique, she has been abandoned more or rejected more, or people don't listen to her feelings more, or they have shown that she isn't worthy to say what's on her mind, or something. Something is going on with Shanique that's different from Ray's past, that gives Ray the ability to communicate and she right away said, I heard about this thing and it made me feel jealous and it hurt me. But she also, so in order to say that, there's this weird catch-22 in that in order to have secure relationships, you have to have had secure relationships in the past. Meaning that in order to say to someone, in order to trust someone with your vulnerability, because for Ray to say to Zay, you did this and I felt jealous and hurt. In order to say that, you have to trust that the other person cares, that the other person will respond well. And if you don't trust that, then you're probably not going to say that. You're going to attack, or you're going to stonewall, or the various different things. I almost did or stonewall the way that we saw Shanique doing. So the catch-22 is, in order to be able to trust people in a secure way, you have to have had a track record of trustworthy relationships. But in order to have a track record of trustworthy relationships, you have to trust and have things go well. Because if you don't trust, it almost provokes the other person to reject you, the way that we saw Randall reacting to Shanique, I think. And thus, because you've never had trustworthy relationships, you don't trust. That provokes relationships into a very untrustworthy place that again compounds more reasons not to trust other people. Whereas if you have trustworthy relationships in the past, you trust your partner to care, because they probably do. You're more able to be vulnerable, which allows them to take care of you, and thus you have a perpetual cascade of trustworthy relationships that promotes more trust of people in the future. So relational trauma is the gift that keeps on giving. It's really an insidious tragedy. When you are treated poorly as a child, it sets up defenses that result in relationships not going well in your adult life, that creates a lot of more relational traumas. Even though you're out of the environment that caused the problems in the first place, that just continues to come with you, and vice versa. A good, loving, attuned childhood, safe childhood, is the gift that keeps on giving, because it makes you less defensive, less paranoid about other people, and thus you're more likely to cultivate satisfactory relationships that give you more reason to feel happy and more reason to be altruistic, more reason to trust other people and to communicate more openly. So we're seeing that contrast with Ray and Shanique.
In the past 3 weeks, I've fallen for Ray. Come to find out, April's been texting me a lot of guys that she found out partying at the club. I've seen her with all these other dudes on Instagram as well. Yeah, I know that she knows that would upset me, because she knows I do care.
Interesting. He's saying that I think during the 4 or 5 days they were dating the other members, or maybe even the 3 weeks that she was with Colby, she went out to the clubs and took pictures with other men at the clubs. And he saw those pictures, Jake, and he's saying that it's a secret message from her, April, to make him jealous. So that's interesting. Let's see what happens here.
The fact that you ran into Madeline, like, this is what I can get. You're texting a whole bunch of guys that you met.
I didn't text her guys. I showed her a picture. And I haven't been giving my number out to guys. If anything, I've been sharing my Instagram.
You've been playing games through this whole thing. You've been jealous, little tricks, and everyone's seen it.
So this is getting a little concerning. Now, what Jake is saying is she is playing games. She's trying to make him jealous. She is giving her phone number out. She is flirting with other men. And he is, if that's true, he's hurt and angry about it. He's exhibiting anger about that and criticism. Okay, if that's true, then yeah, there's other ways of communicating that. You could be more functional and differentiated and mature by saying, well, when I saw that, it hurt my feelings because it made me wonder if you're playing a game with me instead of just telling me directly or asking for things directly from me. You're flirting with other people in a way that you know is going to hurt my feelings and make me angry. If that's true, that upsets me. There's other ways that, there's that way of saying it. She is denying it. I'm guessing we're never going to find out enough data to make a call as to who's right in the situation, but this is a red flag, and we use the show as a jumping off point for, abusive assumptions or abusive attitudes that lead to abusive behavior. That, I don't know about Jake, but for people that I've treated, perpetrators of, someone actually DM'd me on Instagram saying I say perpetrator wrong. Or perpetuate wrong. They said I say perpetuate wrong. I say perpetuate instead of perpetuate. So for you that said that, I hear it now. I say perpetuate, not perpetuate. Anyway, perpetrators, when I've treated them, either in domestic violence treatment or just in my practice, have often this attitude. They often have this attitude of that leads to them being abusive. Abusive behavior that is standing on a foundation of beliefs and relational traumas that cause the individual to, one, have certain exaggerated feelings and also ways of coping with those feelings. So I don't know about Jake, but for the people I've treated, they would, for example, a common story I might hear would be the husband and the wife go to a work party and the wife is talking with her coworkers, some of whom happen to be men, and the husband is slowly getting more and more angry, more and more jealous, and then on the way home, they're driving home, the husband is yelling at her, calling her a slut, calling her some sort of terrible person, accusing her of things, and saying, you're never going to talk to those people again. In fact, you're going to quit that job. You're never going to leave the house, maybe even hitting her. But at least that direction of effort of, I know what happened. You were flirting. You were doing wrong things. I am angry, and I am entitled to tell you what to do. And regardless of your explanation, I know what happened, and shut up. Prolong this over time, and this can be gaslighting if it's over, months of a period of time. So that is something that I've treated before, and the behavior is bad, obviously. But to tell a perpetrator of that kind of intimate partner aggression to stop the behavior is only a temporary way of trying to stop the situation. What you have to change is the assumptions underneath. That, one, they're entitled to tell people what to do. Two, that anger is the only feeling that they're feeling. In all likelihood, what they're feeling is fear and jealousy and worry about losing their partner. And four, that, what number am I on? That their fear and their hurt is actually a sign of being a woman, which is a bad thing. There's all this toxic masculinity often involved, at least in male perpetration of intimate partner aggression. So I don't know what we're seeing right here, but maybe we'll get more information as we watch. Let's rewind that bit.
Picture. And I haven't been giving my number out to guys. If anything, I've been sharing my Instagram.
You've been playing games through this whole thing. You've been jealous little tricks, and everyone's seen it.
Okay.
Everyone who's followed you on Instagram has hit me up like, what the hell is going on? You brought me on this experience.
Okay, and you're not hearing me out, so that's why I'm not even talking.
Okay, then don't talk.
Now, like I said earlier, it's entirely possible that Jake is completely rational, that April is a game player and is a terrible human being that does terrible things and lies and is manipulative and is now, quote unquote, gaslighting, the way the internet would say. If Jake is telling the truth, then she's lying, she's being manipulative, she's trying to trick him, she's playing games. It's a possibility. I don't know. And I'm guessing I'm not going to ever know because the show won't give us the data. Not that they have to, but I don't know. We'll see.
Because you're over here telling me, that's why I'm not a person you didn't see with your own eyes, hear with your own ears.
You know me. I give you all my fucking trust in any relationship I'm in. Once you break it, you broke it.
I talked
I had to find out from somebody else.
I'm not even doing this.
I had to find out from somebody else.
This is a shit show. This will be the longest 3 weeks of my life.
He is upset and basically saying, you've broken the trust. I'm never going to trust you again. If his effort is to break up, then this is, I guess, going to work. But if his effort is to build a relationship back, the way he's communicating isn't going to help. There's other ways of talking with your partner if they have done things like this that can be more reparative. Maybe they'll get there eventually. Let's see what happens.
April, it's never your fucking fault.
If you fucking know so much, you may as well have been there. Because your story is frankly quite off. I walked into the club and this guy started walking my way and I was like, hey, I'm single. We exchanged contacts. Yes, I fucking enjoyed it. But you had somebody that you slept in bed with every night.
Okay, interesting. So I didn't know this was a part of it. I mean, Colby was also exhibiting this as well, that when they entered into the show, there was that very first day and there was a proclamation that everyone is now single. I thought that was, okay, you're single and now you have 5 other partners to explore and potentially you have to pick one to spend 3 weeks with. What I didn't think it meant, but maybe it did to everyone, is you're single generally speaking. So in the evening, you can go out and have sex with someone else because now you're single. So April and Colby seemingly both took it that way because we heard that Colby actually was intimate with another person. And I don't think that Madeline is cool with that. Maybe she is. I don't know. But April is saying, I was single during that time. So boom, I went out to the clubs and a guy flirted with me. And yes, we did exchange phone numbers. So she's admitting to what Jake is accusing her of in the one-on-one interview, but in person with him, she's saying that never happened. Now, maybe she was getting to that and he shut her down, but it seemed like she was denying it instead of just coming forward saying, look, we were single during that time and I thought it was okay for us to flirt with other people. I was never going to get together with those people, but I don't know, it was just kind of fun to go out, have a couple drinks and exchange phone numbers with people. I wasn't going to do anything with them. And as far as your friends telling you, hey, look at what she's doing on Instagram, you need to tell them we were single at the time. Like, there's a way of talking about it instead of just denying it, but maybe they'll get to that.
Stop making me look like the crazy person. You're validating everything that I fucking experienced in this past 3 weeks and it's pushing me away because this is not even 5-10 minutes of being here. You can't even communicate in a calm tone. How mature?
Because I sit there and I just faced you and tried to talk to you and you talked over me, which you do all the fucking time. Anything I say, you never listen.
We're into this zone again where it's you never listen to me, you're a terrible person, and maybe that's true, but if you're trying to build a relationship, you want to avoid those kinds of statements. So I always say when I see it that couples, when they cross a line, they're in another zone where there's really no listening, there's no attempts to try to work it out. They're both just trying to win the argument, and I think they've crossed that line.
That's what I loved about Ray, because she actually listened.
Okay.
And she gave me feedback.
Okay, I'm going to sleep. This is going in circles.
I don't care.
Great. Get out of my apartment.
I would love to if I could.
If they do continue to be broken up into the future, I'm guessing that their relationship was fragile to begin with. I don't know. And that this experience really challenged their attachment to each other, or at least his attachment to her or something. And now that they're in a fight, they're just like, I don't want to deal with this because I have little motivation to even deal with you right now. So we're done. Get out of my place. Yeah, maybe it's for the best for them. I don't know.
April. We talk?
Yeah.
All of us have been here before. You have had a fight. You have separated. And one of you has to initiate the conversation or the contact again. Jake, has decided to be that person. He comes in probably, I think, believing that maybe he came on a little strong and was maybe more unfair than she was. And so he feels like it's his job to initiate that. I will say that in a functional relationship, you should never think that way. You should just be like, look, one of us has to initiate this. It might as well be me. I don't care. I don't want to play those kind of games. I'll just initiate. But you have to be in a relationship where you trust the other person will respond well. Anyway, point is one, as a side note, he goes to their pet dog and has a intimate physical moment with the dog, which actually can help regulate your emotions and be kind of a help during times like that. So that's a benefit of having pets. So I don't know if that's why he did it, but I think it would have that effect. And then he initiates to say, hey, you want to talk? She says, yeah. Okay. So they're both being open. Let's see how they manage this, what they're attempting to do, which is to reconcile and to... Now, guidelines are to take ownership of your own feelings and apologize. Even if you believe you're only 10% to blame, if you lead with an apology, it will encourage the other person to reciprocate, and hopefully people do. Let's see what happens here.
I'm sorry for getting so mad. We still have 3 weeks to live with each other. I don't want both of us just to come after each other.
Good. He apologized. I'm sorry for getting so mad. He could have done more. He could have said, I was hurt. I was worried for a long time. I've been seeing those Instagram posts. People were texting me, and I was infuriated, but really deep down, I was just scared of losing you, and I was really hurt, and I was humiliated. I mean, everyone thought you were just cheating on me. So, that's where I was at. That's where all that anger was coming from earlier. So, you could be more elaborate, but he did apologize, which is great. And let's see how she responds.
I just want you to know that the 3 weeks I've spent with Colby, I've really got to grow, mature, listen, be happy, and be a better me just being around this person. And I don't want to lose that because I was really sad leaving this person because of the person I grew being around him.
She's now talking about how much she grew with Colby and she's sad leaving him. I don't know why you would bring that up in this moment, because I would imagine a more relevant exploration would be, I'm sorry for having posted those things and hurting your feelings and making you jealous and making you angry. I shouldn't have done that. Or I'm sorry I didn't tell you beforehand that I was going to go out and flirt with other men. Something along those lines. That
this can be a healthy, very good relationship.
And I wanted to show the same thing because I do care about you. I do want to learn what you got out of these last 3 weeks. I don't want to be standoffish or separate or apart from you. I love you. You get that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're managing it pretty well. I would have engineered it differently if I were there, because there, I think, still are unmet issues that they haven't addressed. But what do I know? It seems to have gone well, and that's usually all that matters. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.